This Sunday Live, it's AEW Revolution. It's the biggest pay-per-view of 2021. 1 year ago, Revolution set the standard for the top pay-per-view in all of professional wrestling, and this year will be no different. Over 1,300 wrestling fans will be there live in a safe environment. You will have 8 matches, including an exploding barbed wire death match between the biggest rivalry in all of wrestling, AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and the #1 wrestler in the world, Jon Moxley. A street fight. This has been brewing for weeks. Sting returns to the ring with his partner, TNT champion Darby Allin, and they'll take on Team Taz, the combination of Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, the Machine. The face of the Revolution ladder match. Which man will go on to vie for the TNT Championship the following Wednesday? This Sunday, Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, and many, many others will compete to try to grab the brass ring on top of the ladder. The tag team titles will be on the line. The Young Bucks will defend against the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and MJF. Plus the big money match with Matt Hardy and Hangman Adam Page, and a match for the AEW Women's Championship. Ryo Mizunami will take on the champion Hikaru Shida. It's this Sunday. It's coming up Sunday Live, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and only on pay-per-view. It's Revolution, part of All Elite Wrestling. Welcome to another edition of AEW Unrestricted. Tony Schiavone and Aubrey Edwards. We're coming to you with our good boss, Tony Khan. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Booker of the Year and Promoter of the Year. How about
winning
that?
All the awards over here.
Yeah, I tell you, it's well-deserved in Promotion of the Year. What a year we had, right?
We had a great year, and seriously, there was a lot of uncertainty earlier in the year about wrestling in general and about everything in life. And I think for us to come out and have the year we did, it was really special. And I'm really happy for everyone that we won Promotion of the Year, and I'm really happy for everyone that we won Best TV Show, Best Weekly TV Show, and Best Major Show with Revolution.
Sure.
So it was really deserving, and you're both a huge part of it. So thank you both.
Well, thanks. Thank you.
And Robert working the cameras.
Yeah, Robert, what's up?
There you go. You're the man, buddy. We all have put a lot of effort into this year. I think we all can say that, and we all have a good feeling every Wednesday when we get together. But this time we're going to get together on a Sunday, not a Saturday now.
Sunday.
On a Sunday, March 7th for Revolution. And what a big night that's going to be. It starts with the buy-in.
Absolutely. And it's fitting. It starts with the buy-in, and we have had this great women's eliminator tournament to determine who would be the next challenger to Shida's Women's World Championship. And last Sunday we had the Sunday special, and we saw some great competitors.
Very good.
And it was tremendous. And in the buy-in, we'll be seeing more of the tremendous competitors, some including some that were in the women's eliminator tournament.
Right.
Yes.
We've got a great match with Thunder Rosa and Rio taking on Britt Baker and her manager Rebel, not Reba.
Okay,
Not Reba.
right.
Not Reba.
Thunder Rosa and Rio together, that's very interesting tag team match.
They had a great match. They had a tremendous match. And coming out of that, I thought it would be excellent for them to pair up. I think it's going to be a great match. And also for Britt and Thunder Rosa, I mean, really wanting a piece of each other, this is going to be a really hot match, hot issue. And as for Britt's partner and her teaming with Rebel, Rebel's already been complaining of an injury and saying she's going to get a doctor's note. So it's
really,
it's going to be
what doctor is she getting that note from?
Very interesting to see what happens, but I guarantee there's going to be a match, and Britt is going to wrestle Thunder Rosa and Rio, and it's going to be a great match.
That's with the buy-in, and then when the pay-per-view begins, remember it's Sunday, March 7th, this coming Sunday. We're going to have a tag team match. World Tag Team title will start things out. The Young Bucks have been good tag team champions, but this time they got a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what happened with Papa Buck, Mr. Jackson, Matt Nick's dad, it was a really serious situation. It's brought a lot of personal chaos and animosity to the situation with the tag team championship. And Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and MJF would have been a huge tag team title match on any pay-per-view.
Sure.
And now it's an especially serious situation. And I think that's going to be one of the most interesting matches on the card, and it's going to be a great tag title match.
I'm really curious to see kind of how this all plays out, because the Inner Circle's been going through their little trials and tribulations recently, having Sammy just left and having, Chris and MJF are turning out to be, a stellar tag team together. But, I'm curious to see how this all works out and how well they could, not piss each other off.
I think it's going to be, I'm really excited to see what happens with the tag team title match, but I also think the Young Bucks are out for blood, as we saw last night on Dynamite. It's a really serious situation for them, and they're super pissed off.
All right. That's the opening bout, and that's for the World Tag Team title. Then we have a 15-team Battle Royal, which is sponsored by AEW Games.
AEW Games Casino,
which is
Casino Double or Nothing is our newest game out on iOS and
that's
Android.
our new game, and that's our next pay-per-view. But right now we're previewing Revolution this Sunday. And
we're just thinking ahead. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what the Booker of the Year does, man.
Our
He's always thinking ahead.
This Casino, and I got to say, the first ever Casino Tag Team Royale is going to be an amazing match. I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited about some of the new teams we've announced. We already had great teams announced, like Santana Ortiz, Private Party, Top Flight, Butcher and the Blade, Bear Country, lots of great teams. But we've announced more great teams in the last week with the Varsity Blondes and the Gun Club. And then we just saw Phoenix and Pac representing the Death Triangle.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's going to be huge. And so I think we're going to have a great Casino Tag Team Royale match.
You got it. Let me say something about Ray Phoenix right here, because he and Pac will be together. Was named the top high flyer, as well deserved. I mean, he has given us amazing matches after amazing matches, whether it be singles or tag team.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray Phoenix has been one of the MVPs of AEW in the last year, and Pac, we missed him for a long time, but he's been back in recent months, and he's been better than ever. And the team of Pac and Ray Phoenix, I mean, they could be unstoppable, and whoever wins between Jericho and MJF and the Young Bucks in the tag title match, it'll be really interesting to see who's there to be the challengers.
It's always kind of interesting to see kind of how all of these stories are playing out, and that's why I want to talk about the ladder match, the face of the Revolution ladder match, where we've got all these great competitors. You've got Cody Rhodes, you've got Penta, you've got Lance Archer, you've got Max Caster, you've got, the list is so long I keep forgetting. Scorpio Sky.
There's one you don't know about. There's one nobody knows about. So you know 5 names. Right. And of course, there's the one nobody knows. So I think you've named
Booker of the Year, hasn't it?
Cody Rhodes and
Max Caster,
Scorpio Sky, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Lance Archer. But we have not named the 6th competitor, the 6th wrestler who will be named at the pay-per-view.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah. Tune in on Sunday.
So the object is now to climb up the ladder and grab the brass ring. Am I right?
That is right.
Oh,
Okay. Whoever grabs
yes.
the brass ring is going to get a shot at the TNT title. And I'm really excited for that. And that'll be on Wednesday at Dynamite. We have such great wrestlers in the match. Cody, the former TNT champion. Scorpio Sky, who was the first ever co-holder of the World Tag Team Championships. And in the tournament, all 3 rounds, the first round, the semifinals, and the finals, Scorpio Sky had the pin. He was really dominant. We saw him get a pin on Chris Jericho in a tag match. And very, very few people in AEW history have done that. And Scorpio Sky is a really interesting guy in the match. Penta El Zero Miedo is coming off of a serious injury. He's been out for a while. He was on a really hot run since that Eliminator tournament. The Death Triangle had been on fire ever since Pac came back. And I think Penta is a serious contender to win this match. And then Max Caster in the match we just saw last night on Dynamite looked fantastic against 10. Anthony Bowens is out with a knee injury, and Max Caster's looked really good as a singles competitor.
Absolutely.
He was a singles wrestler before the Acclaim came here separately and got kind of teamed up and have been a smash hit, a smash success, critically acclaimed success. And Lance Archer is somebody that, frankly, could have been the very first person you talk about, and you could spend an hour talking about how great Lance Archer's been, not just since the last month or two, but ever since he first came to AEW. Lance Archer's made a huge difference here. And recently, Lance Archer's probably been on the hottest run he's had. We just saw last week the match he had with Ray Phoenix was tremendous.
One of the best matches we've had this year.
And he had to qualify the hard way through this match. Because, the first 3 guys who got picked were the first 3 guys that signed the match, signed the contract, and agreed. And then all of a sudden, it's a very hot match on the pay-per-view with their involvement. And then it was like there's a lot of competition for the spots. Lance and Phoenix was a great match and a classic main event. And that's why, you put those guys in that spot. And of course, we had a great match with Max Caster and 10 last night. 10 also has a really bright future. He's going to be in the Casino Tag Team Royale with 5 now.
Right. Okay.
And so, I think 10 and 5 have a bright future, and we really think a lot out of Vance and Angels. But I definitely think in this ladder match, I mean, there's so much to say about all the people that we mentioned, all 5 of them. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that there's going to be somebody that nobody knows about. Nobody is going to know about it until Sunday at the pay-per-view.
I legit don't know. Like, people think like this is like a work and whatnot. Like, I don't know who it is, and I'm real excited.
Sunday.
Yes, March 7th. So we've been talking about this ladder match and how everyone's going to be like vying for the next number 1 contender spot for the TNT Championship. But our TNT champion is competing in a street fight. Darby Allin and Sting versus Team Taz's Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. And oh my God, Sting is wrestling again. Like,
that's one of the most important, impactful things on this pay-per-view that we can really, from the top, say that people are going to get excited about, and you have to see on this pay-per-view Sting making a comeback. And we just talked about this big ladder match, Darby Allin, the TNT champion. All these guys are fighting to get a shot at Darby. And that match is going to be next Wednesday on Dynamite, the first Dynamite after Revolution. Right. And if Darby doesn't make it through this street fight, then he's going to forfeit the title.
Oh my God.
Because has to make the defenses and has to keep an eye on the title. The street fight was a personal issue. It's a great match for the pay-per-view, but he's also got to make his defenses. So Darby has to make that defense on Wednesday, or he's going to forfeit the title.
Something about Sting and Darby Allin together just seems to fit, because of what we remember Sting from the 90s in the Raptors, and now we see Darby up there and the face paint and all that. It just seems to fit. And
that's the idea. That was the idea. There's a lot of, they have a lot of common ground, and I thought it would be a really cool mix of the new and prior generation.
Right.
And, together they've been amazing, and really in recent weeks they've clicked. I'm really happy with how it's come off, but I think, like you said, the story that Sting is going to wrestle again and that he's back in action and that we're doing it on one of the biggest shows of the year. I mean, last year Revolution was chosen as the best show of all of 2020 and all of wrestling.
Right.
And it's a huge standard to live up to, and I wanted to do something really special for Revolution this year to make it live up to what we accomplished last year with Revolution, which is a really special, memorable show. And I think we will do that this weekend. I think Sunday we can have what will be remembered as one of the best wrestling shows of the year. It's really cool. We've got this huge crowd coming in, which even by like the old standards, it's a good crowd. I mean, we're going to have the biggest crowd we've done yet because we've found some new seats. We'll reconfigure it a little bit. We still are running just over 25% capacity, under 30% capacity, and we're going to have over 1,300 people in Daly's place.
That's cool. That is great.
It's going to be great, and it'll be a good crowd. It's like a real wrestling crowd, and it's going to feel that way on pay-per-view.
And it's going to feel like it. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Like, our crowds at Daly's place have been great. Everyone's spaced distantly. Like, we're following all the CDC guidelines, but it still feels, there's something about that pay-per-view feel when you have all those people and all that excitement and everything kind of together in the one space. So you had mentioned it a little bit earlier in the buy-in. We have these women from the tournament. We're going to have the finals. Our winner of the women's final, Rio, is facing Shida for the women's championship, and I'm personally very excited for this match.
It's going to be tremendous.
So good. Shida's easily one of the best wrestlers, like not even women's wrestlers, but best wrestlers in the world.
Absolutely. And Mizunami, the run she had through this tournament to get to this point has been outstanding. I think we've seen Mizunami's been, whether it was last night against Nyla Rose, the match against Yuka Sakazaki was phenomenal.
Oh, so good.
To get here through the entire Japan bracket and then win the tournament final against Nyla Rose, a former world champion who's one of the toughest competitors and who steamrolled through the U.S. bracket and beat some of the best women wrestlers, some of the best wrestlers in all of AEW. And I think Mizunami versus Shida, it's a great story. It's going to be a great rivalry brought to pay-per-view here in America. I'm really excited about that as well.
It's Hikaru Shida and Ryo Mizunami for the Women's World Championship. It's all a part this Sunday, of course, Revolution, live on pay-per-view. We're talking with Tony Khan. We got to talk about the remainder of the card still to come.
Aubrey Edwards and Tony Schiavone here with Mr. Tony Khan. Tony Schiavone's rocking this wonderful tracksuit. AEW. It's what the AEW talent wear when they travel.
It's what we wear when we're on the road.
It's so good.
Yes, it is.
On the road to Revolution, am I right? Sunday, March 7th, pay-per-view.
That's right, this Sunday.
We're here talking with Tony Khan, Booker and Promoter of the Year, about the awesome. I'm going to keep saying that. I'm real proud of that, man.
Thank you.
I work for the best Booker.
We
and
work for
promoter.
the promotion of the year.
Yes,
we do. We work for all of these. We cleaned up.
And we're doing the follow-up to last year's biggest and voted best show of 2020, now Revolution 2021.
Which is already lining up to literally be the biggest live wrestling show in a very, very long time. We've got, 25% of the crowd sold out.
Yeah, we sold capacity, so it's going to be like 1,300, which is just over 25% of the venue. So pretty close to 25%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We were
safely, promoting shows. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't stress that it's an outdoor venue. Everyone's physically distanced.
That's right.
This is not like we're packing people in an indoor space at all, and everyone's sitting in pods, everyone wearing masks. And it's a great experience. And for the fans watching at home, I think they want to know that there's a crowd there and these reactions. You want a pay-per-view, these big moments, these pops, these gasps, these chants, these reactions. You want them to be there. And I think, people ordering this pay-per-view should know that there's going to be over 1,300 people in the audience reacting. And it's going to be like a real wrestling crowd.
Sure.
It's
going to be real loud.
Sure. Tag team match is going to be Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor against Miro and Kip Sabian. This one is, I guess we've been using the word about revenge. It's been personal. It's been brewing since the wedding. And I'm telling you, and I did a sit-down interview with them recently. Miro is the last man on the face of the earth that I would want to make mad.
No.
I mean, it looks like he just is seething inside, ready to explode.
I feel like he'll rip someone's skull just by looking at them.
He's such a popular person with a certain part of the locker room, though.
Oh, yes.
People that really like Miro.
I do. I'm one of them who I like him, but I can tell that there's a underneath thing that you don't want to go there.
They call him King of the Boys.
Yeah?
They do?
King of the Boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Who's to argue, right?
I'm not gonna. I mean, have you seen Miro?
Nobody would.
Nobody would argue with that title.
And it's going to be a tremendous match.
Right.
I'm really excited to see how all four guys fare. But all four guys again are great examples of people that have a great future in AEW. They come from different backgrounds, very diverse backgrounds across these four men, and how these two teams got here. It could all be very different if Trent hadn't gotten injured.
Yes.
And Trent's pec injury changed things a lot.
Right.
And, how we ended up here, the result of the wedding and all the craziness at the end, which was a great segment, did a great rating for us, and been excited to pay it off here at the pay-per-view.
We also have a big money match. Big money Matt against Hangman Adam Page. Matt Hardy has been able to reinvent himself over and over again in this sport. And even when he first came here, right? And now what he is today. And I don't know if I've ever trusted Matt Hardy. I can say that even before I met him, but from seeing him from afar.
Definitely don't send some papers he puts in front of you.
But there you go. He's quite a performer, isn't he?
Yeah, Matt's a great wrestler. He's one of the all-time legends in wrestling. And I think Big Money Matt is a great character, and Big Money Matt plays the part of a real villain. And I think Big Money Matt and Private Party have been a really formidable combination. And now with Matt Hardy and Hangman, we've had this thing where he's finally been outsmarted by the Hangman, but Hangman made it a fair fight. He tricked Matt into signing a contract where Matt would put all of his earnings for the first quarter of this year up in a match. And, then Hangman's honorable. It could be for Matt it is, I can tell you for a fact, it's a lot of money. And and for Hangman too. And so Hangman made it a fair fight, made it 50-50, and they both are putting their wages and all of their income for the first quarter of the year up in this match. And it's going to be huge. And they've both been really hot. Both guys have been red hot this year. Last night, we saw what happened in the match. Hangman kept his undefeated streak alive, but it's kind of crazy because, as Matt said at the end of the show, he said all of Hangman's winnings are going to be his on Sunday anyway. So right. Hangman's riding this great undefeated streak. I think he's won 6 straight matches, and what good does that even do him if, I think, frankly, for Matt, all of the endorsements, all of the buzz around Hangman, he can take it all to his advantage. Yeah. He can make this a huge win for himself. And this is like big money Matt's domain because Matt Hardy's undefeated on pay-per-view in AEW.
Oh.
And has been really dominant in these matches. They know each other really well. They were both on the same team in the Stadium Stampede.
Right.
Hangman
True.
with the Elite, and Matt Hardy teamed with the Elite against the Inner Circle, and they had a lot of success. And it's, Matt Hardy has really been a really important person for us since he arrived in AEW, and ever since he saw this turn of personality from, the Elite Deletion,
right,
and became a lot more arrogant, and he's been a really important part of our show. And so I think Matt's done a great job. And Hangman Page is one of the most important wrestlers in AEW. Yeah. And, ever since the match with Kenny at Full Gear, ever since then has been on a roll. And I think this is going to really have a great chance to be one of the top matches on the show.
You can't deny what Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page, has meant to this company. He vied for the very first AEW championship. Mm-hmm. He and Kenny Omega were great tag team champions for a long time. Yep. Won the tag team belts at Revolution a year ago.
Well, they won the tag team on the Jericho Cruise.
On the Jericho Cruise, you're right.
Defended them at Revolution.
Defended them at Revolution.
Successfully, and
Thank
had
you.
a great run and defeated most of the top teams here until they got stopped by FTR.
Right.
And of course, FTR had a great run until they ran into the Young Bucks. And Hangman Page, one of the top wrestlers in AEW, like you said, was a great tag team champion and has been a great singles wrestler with a great record and is unbeaten. But again, it's a big money match. Big money Matt Hardy. It's a great chance for him, and this is his domain.
The main event is an exploding barbed wire death match, and I wanted to talk about that. We're going to talk extensively about it. But before we do, I want to say this, okay? And I was thinking about this as we were talking about Sting. You have been a wrestling fan, and you have done a wonderful job. I'm not sucking up the boss. I'm telling him the truth. He knows this. You've done a wonderful job of bringing current and former stars together, like Darby and Sting. You always remember the past. We have seen...
And Team Taz is a great on the other side.
Right.
Yes.
But to even go a step further, even moving outside of what we got coming up this Sunday, we've seen J.J. Dillon. We've seen Eric Bischoff arrive here. We have seen Paul White come here. Guys who have made their name in the past are now making their way in AEW, and we've seen that.
And so that brings me to our other announcement that last night Paul White told you that you're not going to be the only one with these scoops around here anymore, and he's going to break some scoops too, and I'm giving him a big scoop. So he told the world, and it's true, that there's going to be a big star who's signed with AEW, and he's coming here, and it's absolutely true what Paul said. This Sunday, a major star in the world of wrestling, a huge, huge star, is going to come and sign a multi-year contract with AEW on Sunday at the pay-per-view. So I can confirm what Paul said is true. And I'm not talking about the person in the ladder match. I'm talking about, we have some great, fun sixth person in the ladder match.
Right.
But the person who I'm saying is going to come and sign a multi-year contract with AEW, the person Paul referenced, that's not the sixth person in the ladder match. There's two. That's a different.
Yeah.
Tony's bringing you multiple surprises.
Paul's talking about a big surprise.
Okay.
And that's no joke. So what he said to you, I can confirm is true.
Well, bringing Paul White in was a big surprise.
That
anyway,
in and of itself,
quite literally,
huge surprise. I'm really excited. The two of you are going to make a great team on Elevation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really excited about you guys teaming up on Monday nights, and I think I think the young wrestlers in AEW and a lot of the veteran wrestlers both are going to be competing on Elevation against each other, and young wrestlers against young wrestlers, and against veterans, and veterans against veterans. And I think it's going to be great. And I'm really excited about Paul White coming here to host the show with you. And I think you guys had great charisma last night.
Yeah. He's my buddy. It's always been. Yeah.
He was really excited to do this show with you. Right. And I know it was a little bit of a surprise to you, and I broke it to you, but I think you've really been working hard on it, and I think it's going to be great to bring Paul here to do it and to be part of the AEW team. And when the time's right, he's ready to return to the ring too. I think it's going to be great. He's going to be studying all the wrestlers here in AEW and the hosting position and the commentary booth, and ready to come back. And I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And just let everybody out there know that you may think that we always know what's going on. And
I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know shit.
I didn't even know Sting was coming in till the day he came in. And when I got to the arena that day, Cody had said, "Your buddy's here." And I said, "Okay." So I got a lot of buddies. I don't know. He said,
and then I took you back to the trailer.
Took me back to the trailer. I went, "Oh my God." And I was out at the announce desk, obviously, would have loved to seen everybody's face when he walked from the trailer to the gorilla position.
It was quite a moment. It was a lot of shocked faces.
Yeah.
It was a surreal moment for a lot of people when Sting walked through the back.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anyone expected it, but everyone was kind of hoping.
Sting in full makeup. I mean, a lot of people thought it could be different people. Winter is coming, but I don't think that's what people expected. But it was
no, not at all.
Talk about a great payoff, and we'll have another great payoff this weekend, I can promise.
Yeah.
On Sunday at the pay-per-view. Having Sting here has been great. Having Paul here is going to be great, and we're going to keep it going with new shows, new platforms, and wrestlers. New faces and familiar faces.
It's always important. I've always thought that you need to keep it fresh. We've been. I guess it'll be 2 years in October. We've been AEW. Even before then, when the first Double or Nothing, that's when AEW started. But so we're getting close to that 2-year anniversary.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And we've done a good job. I think you've done a great job as promoter of the year of mixing of mixing things in. I mean, you've got to do that. I mean, that's old school wrestling, years and years ago.
I mean, in the 2021 world of wrestling, it's important for the major companies to generate great content. And I really believe, Elevation will be another great feather in our cap in terms of the great content. I mean, Revolution, Double or Nothing, All Out in full gear. The pay-per-views we produce are tremendous. Yeah. Dynamite, week in, week out, I think is, in my opinion, the best wrestling show on television. Right. Dark, we've really unearthed some great wrestlers on Dark, and Taz and Excalibur do a great job hosting the show, and it's built a great audience, and I think now you and Paul are going to build a great audience with Elevation too.
What I think is important about Elevation, and don't forget, it's this Sunday that we've got Revolution coming up, 8 o'clock on pay-per-view. Of course, it's on BR Live as well, on pay-per-view, on Fight.tv internationally. I want to talk about independent wrestlers and what they have meant. And think about guys like Sammy Guevara, MJF, who were Darby Allin, who were in independent wrestling. And I've gone to some independent shows. I know how hard kids are working.
Oh, yeah.
How hard referees worked in the
We're not making any money.
No, but how hard you worked in the independents. And so you've had an appreciation for that.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make Elevation so special.
Well, I think it's been the spirit of the pandemic. I mean, we kept so many independent wrestlers working and helped people stay employed and kept feeding people during the pandemic.
Right.
By using tons of independent wrestlers and changing what Dark was and building new content, and now that's led to the genesis of Elevation.
Right.
And we'll be developing more content. I think it's an extension of the Dark brand now with Elevation. I think on YouTube we're going to see lots of top independent stars and lots of the young AEW wrestlers and a lot of veterans all mixed up with each other and amongst themselves. And then I also think we're going to, I know for a fact, we're going to add another show on TNT this year.
Right.
And we've got a lot of star power. And I think across Dynamite and this, another hour, I don't want to say a third hour. It's a third hour of television, but it's not going to be on Wednesday. It won't be like
we're
a 3
not
hour show.
extending Dynamite.
Right.
It'll be another hour show, which is the critical thing, because I don't think we don't need to do a 3 hour straight show.
Neither do I.
It's already a long day.
2 hours is a perfect length for a show.
Yes, it is.
Good. It's wonderful.
It's perfect. And I think another 1 hour show is going to really punch it, and we're going to get to focus on more stars, because we already have a lot of stars in AEW, so many stars that really each week you don't get to see everyone, and even with another hour you still wouldn't necessarily see everybody constantly every week, but you'll really be able to still keep people fresh while getting all the star power, an appropriate amount of screen time, and it'll be more great matches for the wrestling fans every week, which is the most important thing. That I just want to deliver a lot of good wrestling every week, and that's one thing Dynamite's done since we debuted, is a lot of great wrestling matches, mostly on Wednesday nights. We've been on a couple other nights, and there's playoff games and stuff, but 90-something% of the time on these Wednesday nights. And I think for me, 2020 was a great year, but I think 2021 is going to be even better. And again, we've seen our attendance at the shows. We've been able to get more and more fans in at Dynamite, and now at Revolution this Sunday, we're going to have the biggest crowd we've had since the pandemic started. I think it's going to be really awesome, and the fans are such a huge part of the show, supporting us on TV and on pay-per-view and live, and keeping that as part of the equation. I just don't think you're going to see anything like that anywhere else right now.
This Sunday's big Revolution card will be capped off by the exploding barbed wire death match, and we'll talk about that coming up on AEW Unrestricted.
This is Aubrey Edwards and Tony Schiavone with Tony Khan, the way we kick off every pay-per-view week. Kicking off Revolution this Sunday, March
7th.
Yes, 8 o'clock, 7 Central. Pay-per-view, we're on BR Live, we're on Fight TV, we're all over the place. You should be watching this. I mean, we've talked about all of these incredible matches. We've got 7 matches we've gone over so far, plus the buy-in. All of this incredible stuff, and we haven't even touched on the main event. This exploding barbed wire death match, which is 3 words I never thought I would actually say as like a match that we're having on American soil on a major pay-per-view. Like,
for the world title, for the top title.
With the greatest rivalry in professional wrestling right now. There's
Right.
all of these things that kind of just line up perfectly for this moment. And this is so exciting. And I'm very, very excited. I'm going to be in the back watching.
Can you explain this to us for those of us who have never seen it?
Well, I mean, it's really, first of all, it's a spectacle. You're going to have to order the pay-per-view to really, truly behold.
Right.
There have been different versions of the match, but you're going to see, and I think as we saw in the package last night on the show, the ropes are going to be wrapped with barbed wire.
Okay.
We're going to have these explosive devices around the ring, and if somebody hits the ropes, the ropes are going to set off these explosive devices, and it's going to be a big bang. And
Right.
It's going to be quite a sight and quite a sound, and it's quite a spectacle. These matches, and they're great hardcore matches, but you can do some great stuff in the ring, and it's really up to the competitors. In the case of these are 2 of the best wrestlers in the world, and I think they're going to do some really innovative stuff, but it's also just 2 guys with talk about a major personal issue that are just going to be looking to tee off on each other in the match, and I think it's going to be an awesome match. It's a very historic match, very different than your typical world title main event on a pay-per-view.
Right. John Moxley was, and we've well documented this, was robbed of the title. Don Callis, what he did was, Tony, I never will forget when Don Callis and Kenny ran out of the arena. And Don said, when Don said to Alex Marvez, he said, everybody will watch this Tuesday. And I remember thinking, that dumbass doesn't even know when Dynamite is.
It's like, is he going to go to dark? Like, what's happening?
Say, what's he talking about? So then I put 2 and 2 together, as the old cliche goes, and but it was terrible.
Well, it changed our lives.
It sure did.
Doing these.
Now I'm sitting here between the 2 Tonys.
It helped me. Yeah, now we're the 2 Tonys, and this whole thing helped me discover a whole new side of myself as a promoter.
Right.
And open the forbidden door.
Yes, it did, and it opened the forbidden door and opened up AEW. It really did.
Absolutely.
And you even said earlier in the week that we're all in this together when you were talking to the Impact people. And,
it's true. I mean, everybody in wrestling, I mean, we're all there and we're all fighting against the people who don't believe in wrestling. And at the end of the day, if you love wrestling, then we're all on the same side.
Right.
And, if you believe in the wrestlers and for us, AEW has been wildly successful. It's been a great business, but it's about more than the business. It's about the people. And we strive to put on the best shows. We've never done anything at all like this exploding barbed wire death match. And, like I said, the constraints on the match are very different than anything else we've ever had on the pay-per-view, let alone in a world title match. And to do it in a match where, not only 2 of the biggest stars in wrestling with John Moxley and Kenny Omega are 2 of the 3 men who've ever held the world title here, along with Chris Jericho, and the 2 guys that have really been carrying AEW, along with a lot of other people, but the 2 guys at the forefront of carrying AEW through the pandemic in the last, year plus.
Regardless of what he's done and how he has turned the corner on his character and his demeanor, Kenny Omega has been sensational for this company, and I hadn't seen that much of Kenny wrestling. I saw the
Chris Jericho match.
I saw the Chris Jericho match. That was the first time I had seen Kenny Omega.
That was a huge business success.
Right. And I saw the angle they did. They did an angle like during a press conference or something, and I saw that. And I remember thinking, boy, this guy is really, really good. You bring him here, and he becomes a major star here, becomes our world heavyweight champion. You cannot say enough about what type of wrestler he is. I mean, he's tremendous.
Yeah, Kenny Omega and John Moxley, they're the 2 best wrestlers in the world.
Right.
With very different approaches and very different styles. But when they get in there, it's very great. And Kenny's a world champion. He's had so many great matches, of course, with John, but also, some great tag team matches, against John.
Last year's Revolution, too.
He and Hangman, of course, that Revolution, and all through their reign were dominant tag team champions. And we've seen Kenny in some of the best singles matches ever in AEW too. You know, the best tag match we've ever had arguably was Kenny and Hangman against the Young Bucks last year's Revolution show. But, you know, Kenny and Pac just a few days before that had a classic Iron Man match in Kansas City. This year, we started the year out with New Year's Smash, Kenny versus Phoenix for the world title. What a
5-star match.
Great match, and one of the best matches I think ever on television. And we've had so many great matches involving Kenny, and he's been a great champion for us. But Jon Moxley before him was also such a great champion, helped carry the company for a long time. And, you know, it's our two top guys in truly a deathmatch setting, and it's going to be really, really awesome. I'm excited about that, and the whole show's stacked, and it's fitting that we have such a unique title match on top of such a crazy, awesome card.
We talked about Kenny. Let's talk about Jon Moxley just for a second here. Now, don't forget, it is this Sunday. It is on pay-per-view. It's Revolution, and it's 1 year removed from the number one event of 2020, and that was Revolution last year in Chicago, so 1 year removed. And again, we're going to have 1,300 fans, safe distancing. It's going to be a great atmosphere. We want you to be a part of it. Now I want to talk about Jon Moxley because Jon Moxley made his shocking appearance in AEW on the very first event, Double or Nothing, back in May of 2019. And he came in and really set the tone for what he was going to be. And ever since that time, he has not walked through an entrance. He walks in the same way he walked in Double or Nothing in Las Vegas.
And what was
right?
how did we end Double or Nothing?
Yeah.
He threw Kenny Omega off the giant stack of poker chips.
That's right.
And that's how he made his entrance here in AEW.
Right.
And
This has been brewing for a very long time.
Right.
yeah, and you saw we ended that show. The three guys out there at the end of the show. They're the only three men ever to hold the world title here in AEW.
Right.
The Kenny Omega, obviously, now the current champion. Jon Moxley, the champion before him, and Chris Jericho,
Right.
the inaugural champion who John beat.
Right.
And it's very fitting that this rivalry would be culminating here at Revolution. And I'm so excited for the exploding barbed wire death match, Moxley versus Kenny. I think the whole card is stacked, and this has got a chance to be one of the best cards we've ever done, and we've done some of the best cards I've ever seen on pay-per-view. So I think this Sunday we really are going to do something very special, and I'm so glad there's going to be a big crowd of fans there to see it live, and I think we're going to get a really good audience on pay-per-view.
Did you think when Jon Moxley was named number one wrestler in PWI in the rankings of the 500 top wrestlers, do you think that had an impact on Kenny? I mean, Kenny was even talked about that during his interview.
Yeah, and then Moxley won Wrestler of the Year in the Observer.
Right.
Kenny was voted most outstanding.
Right.
The Ric Flair Luthez Award went to Jon Moxley.
Jon Moxley,
and
right.
then the top in the PWI 500. I absolutely think that had an impact on Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega was part of a great tag team, and I think he realized that, you know, the World Tag Team Championships in AEW is one of the most prestigious titles in all of wrestling, and we have this great tag team division, and AEW puts more focus on great tag team matches than any other company in wrestling. And Kenny understood that's a great platform, and even though he wants the spotlight, he wanted to be the big single star, he realized, hey, like, this is a great platform to have some of the best matches anywhere ever, and he did it. And the Hangman and Kenny team had some of the best matches ever in AEW, and I think some of the best matches I've seen on TV and pay-per-view. They had a great run. Everybody they wrestled until they got to FTR, you know, they had beaten. And I think that's when Kenny was ready to move on to the spotlight of the singles wrestling. Now that that chapter of his career as a tag wrestler with Hangman is over, I think that is a epic run they had. But yeah, Kenny's probably too big a wrestler at this point. He feels like to be in a tag team. He wants all that spotlight, and as we've seen as the world champion, like, there's nobody that can command the spotlight more than Kenny.
Yeah.
And he's really brilliant person. He's had great ideas, and, you know, as great as he was already such a huge part of the company before he became the champion. And now, I mean, we all see it. I mean, he's the presentation. The new Kenny is really, really impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of things are going on this coming Sunday. Don't forget, we had pay-per-views on Saturday before, but this one is on a Sunday night, this Sunday, March 7th. Not only do we have these 8 great matches, culminating with the exploding barbed wire death match between Omega and Moxley for the World Championship, We also are going to have a major announcement that Tony Khan just told us about.
Yeah, and Paul had this great scoop last night. I had the great scoop last night. But I think I can confirm that is true, that a huge star is going to show up and officially sign their contract with AEW, and that's going to be a big deal. It'll be a multi-year deal, and I'm really excited to bring this person in. That's going to be huge, and we also have 7 more huge matches plus the buy-in.
Plus the buy-in.
So I remember watching Revolution last year and like being in the back and just getting goosebumps during some of the moments of the show and thinking like once we finish Full Gear, it's like, okay, what's the next? Okay, we've got winners coming, and then we've got, this road to Revolution. And I kept saying to myself, how could we possibly top what we did? And I think that next year I'm going to be asking myself the same thing because this is an absolutely incredible card.
I mean, to have the exploding barbed wire death match for the world title in the main event, and to be able to say that Sting is coming out of retirement, Sting is back wrestling, Sting is teaming with Darby against Team Taz, and great rivalry that Darby's had with Team Taz, to add Sting to it, it's so special. And to have the World Tag Team title on the line, the greatest tag team in the world, the Young Bucks, taking on Jericho and MJF, who are definitely 2 of the greatest singles wrestlers in the world, and leading the Inner Circle, which is their top faction in wrestling. And, top to bottom, such a great card. Mizunami, what a run she went on to win the Women's Eliminator and get the shot at the world title. I think Shida's been a great champion. She's had so many great defenses, but Mizunami could be the toughest test yet on pay-per-view. And Mizunami, this eliminator has been really important to us, and if Mizunami wins, I think it'll really put even more emphasis on this eliminator, what a big event it is for us, and hopefully that we can do again. And what an ambitious event it is. And again, Kenny Omega, a very intelligent person, and Kenny and Shida, this was really very enterprising thing, very ambitious project, and very gutsy of Shida to want to work to try to put together such a great field to challenge her for the title. Hopefully it doesn't blow up in her face.
Hopefully.
Well, good luck then. I wish her luck. And then such a great card. I mean, Matt Hardy and Hangman, 2 great names in wrestling. Matt Hardy, one of the most familiar names in wrestling, and Hangman, currently one of the top stars too, but also going to be one of the top stars for a long time to come. But somebody's going to be lighter in the wallet in the big money match. Right. It's just such an awesome card. And the Casino Tag Team Royale, sponsored by AEW Games.
Yes, AEW Casino Double or Nothing, which is now available for free download on iOS and Android app stores.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We got great teams in the Casino Tag Team Royale, with 15 of the top teams in wrestling. Natural Nightmares, Dustin Rhodes on pay-per-view.
Oh, wow.
So great whenever you get to see Dustin Rhodes on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
QT, what a great team they are. So it's going to be a really fun match, and I'm really excited about everything we have top to bottom.
Yeah, and now you know why we're so excited to come to work every week. It's because of all the things we got going on.
I don't know how anyone could wonder that now.
I know.
We absolutely love what we do, and we're constantly excited about all the cool stuff we have happening. This Sunday, March 7th, pay-per-view.
Tony, thanks.
Thanks for doing this. I always enjoy seeing both of you before the pay-per-views, and I'll look forward to seeing you this weekend for Revolution, and I'll look forward to seeing you for the buy-in. I'll look forward to seeing both of you at Dynamite next week, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the show before Double or Nothing. But I'll see you all in the meantime at Revolution, Sunday, March 7th.
Don't forget that you can catch AEW Unrestricted wherever you get your podcasts for free. And don't forget to watch us, the video version, on your YouTube channel.
You know why Tony holds his microphone like that?
Why?
Because he's classy.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us on
AEW Unrestricted.